So do you remember a while back I bought one of the Retrobit Sega licensed wireless Sega Saturn controllers? Hopefully you do. Maybe you watched the video. If not, I will put a link to that video at the end of this video because I just bought another one. But this time it's a Sega Genesis controller. Hey guys, what's up? What's happening? The King of Games 98 here at your service. How you doing? Hope y'all are doing good and staying safe during these times. And well, a week ago, I went to my favorite local small business video game store, which is Next Level Video Games. And I went with my friend Tyler, who goes by Mr. Game & Squatch on YouTube, and I featured him on multiple videos on my channel. And I made myself a promise before we went to Next Level. And the promise was if Nick, who was the owner of Next Level, got any more or any new Retrobit Sega licensed wireless controllers, that I would at least buy one more. And the answer to that ended up coming back no, because it looked like he still had the same ones hanging on the racks that were there the previous time I was there before a week ago. But he did have this, and as you guys know, blue is my favorite color, and I'm a sucker for a really cool translucent blue Sega controller. So I bought it. And as you can see, I paid $29.99, $30 for it, and I didn't really think that was too bad of a price. To tell you the truth, I forget exactly what I paid for that Sega Saturn controller, but I still thought this was good for the price. So they call this the wireless 8-button arcade pad, featuring Bluetooth technology. What am I calling it? I'm calling it a translucent blue Sega licensed Sega Genesis 6-button Bluetooth wireless controller. That's what I'm calling it. And I know that's a lot longer than just that, but that's what I'm calling it. Okay, so first off, right off the bat, I have to say how much I love the box. Retrobit nailed the box. This is identical to how the original Sega Genesis controllers came in the boxes. This looks identical to the original boxes that the Genesis controllers came in when you bought them new back in the 90s, at a store, at retail. So, here's the front. Compatible with Steam, PC, Mac, PlayStation 3, Android, and Nintendo Switch. Here's the left side. Here's the back. Here's the right side. Here's the top. And here's the bottom. I'll zoom in on the barcode. Okay, so I'm going to briefly read the features on the back, and then we're going to get to this unboxing / first impressions video of this controller. So, it reads, officially licensed Sega controller featuring Bluetooth technology. Compatible with Steam, PC / Mac, Android, and Switch. Rumble capability on supported games. 10-meter range. 550 mAh rechargeable battery. Micro USB charge cable. Up to 20 hours of gameplay on full charge. Features home and select buttons and X input / D input modes. And lastly, compatible with the original Genesis consoles via Retrobit receiver with Bluetooth technology, sold separately. That is a really cool feature. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, if I am able to find and buy myself one of those, what do they call it again? Retrobit receiver with Bluetooth technology for the Sega Genesis, and then that would let me use this wireless controller on an actual Sega Genesis console, I would totally buy one of them in a heartbeat. Like, don't tempt me, I would buy one of them. Okay, so this box had a total of 4 seal stickers. One here, one there, and one here, and one there. I already took them off to save time, so yeah. So that just slides right out like so. I'm going to put that in the back there. Okay. Basically, same box. Lid just lifts right off. And we are greeted to the instruction manual. Always good to have. The controller. Looks freaking awesome. And they were nice enough to include, it looks like a pretty long cord, a micro USB cable, charging cord to charge the controller with. That's awesome. Thank you very much, Retrobit. That was very nice of you. Okay, so we're just going to stick them back there. Okay. So, here is the front of the wireless Bluetooth Sega Genesis 6-button controller. I love it. I absolutely love it. And, you know, I think this controller, as well as the Sega Saturn controller I bought a while back, they look badass in this translucent blue color shell. I love it. Man, that D-pad is... Oh, that D-pad feels great. So we got D-pad, select button, home button, start button, A, B, and C buttons. Oh, they feel really good. X, Y, and Z buttons. Man, this really does feel like I'm playing on an original 6-button style Sega Genesis controller. Wow, and look, would you look at that? L and R shoulder buttons. And you know what? I actually like that clicking sound they make, because then that tells me when I hear that sound that I am actually pushing the button and it's responding. I know to some people that might be annoying and get on their nerves, but I like that. And then, of course, is the micro USB charging port at the top there. Can you focus? Focus? No? Focus. Hocus pocus. Maybe. There we go. Yep. Okay. So, front of the controller. Left side of the controller. We have the back of the controller. Right side of the controller. Man, look at how far out that D-pad sticks out. Huh. Top of the controller. And bottom of the controller. Okay, so first thoughts or first impressions of this controller, I absolutely love it. I love how it looks. I love how the buttons feel. They feel very responsive, and it feels like the buttons, you know, pressing down on them and, you know, them, you know, coming back up and responding. It feels almost exactly how an original OEM wired Sega Genesis 6-button controller felt. You know, minus the L and R shoulder buttons, but still, it feels damn near identical when pressing the buttons. Weight-wise, I can actually say this has got some weight to it. It's not really heavy, but it's not really light. It's like moderately heavy. And I was kind of worried about that because I don't usually like buying new, like, aftermarket wireless controllers and they're like really lightweight, because when they're really lightweight, that usually tells me that they're very cheaply made and it's cheap plastic and, you know, so on and so forth. So I like that. Now, what we're going to do is I own probably a couple, but for the sake of this video, I just pulled one out of my drawer. I am going to do side-by-side comparisons of this controller to an OEM official Sega brand wired Sega Genesis 6-button controller to show you guys how damn near identical this controller is to an original wired controller. So we're going to move this stuff momentarily. Okay. Okay. So there is one, because I'm thinking I might own about 2 or 3 of these original Sega brand wired 6-button Genesis controllers just because of how much I love this controller. So, but like I said, for the sake of this video, I just pulled one out of my drawer just to do a comparison side by side. So here is the new Bluetooth wireless 6-button Sega Genesis controller made by Retrobit, licensed by Sega, side by side against an original OEM Sega brand wired 6-button Sega Genesis controller. I mean, seriously, guys, look at this. I'm not making this up, am I? This is like night and day. Or excuse me, not night and day. Disregard that. This is damn near identical to each other. Look at that. A, B, C buttons, A, B, C buttons, X, Y, Z buttons, X, Y, Z buttons. The craziest part is the buttons even look like the same exact buttons used on the original controller in the new wireless Bluetooth controller. Start button looks the same. The D-pad even looks the same, although one thing I did notice, yeah, okay. If you can't tell, then I'm just going to say it. The D-pad on the Bluetooth wireless controller sticks out a lot more than the original OEM wired 6-button Genesis controller. But that's okay. I'm perfectly fine with that. You know what? It doesn't have to be damn near identical to the original controller. I'm okay with them changing up, some things, making the controller a little different, adding some buttons, here, there. I'm okay with change. Change is good. And quite frankly, I like the feel of this D-pad. So, yeah, that's really the only difference I noticed between these two. I mean, other than the color and this having a home and select button, and this does not. Although I was kind of curious because if you own an original Sega brand wired 6-button Genesis controller, then there is actually this weird mode button. That makes a clicking noise too. On the right shoulder of the controller. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I never knew what the hell this button does. I still to this day have no idea what this button does. Like, please, if you know in the comments, please let me know, because I'm very curious to know what does that button do in any game. And so I was curious if they were going to put the mode button on this controller, but they did not, and instead put L and R shoulder trigger buttons, L and R shoulder buttons on this wireless Bluetooth controller. And I'm actually liking that more than the stupid mode button, because let's be honest, more games nowadays use the L and R shoulder buttons than a mode button. But yeah, I mean, look at this, guys. Look at this. Look at this. This is so identical, it's just not even funny. Look at that. Freaking awesome. I absolutely love this. Now, the funny part of me even buying this controller is that, to be quite honest with you guys, I really didn't even need this controller. But you see, I love that Retrobit Sega licensed wireless Sega Saturn controller I bought a while back, that I was like, hey, I would love to buy another one of those Retrobit Sega licensed wireless controllers off of Nick, for 2 reasons. One, I love to give him my business and support his store. And 2, because I love that Sega Saturn controller so much. So I didn't really need this controller, but I'm really glad and happy I did buy this controller, just because I love, love, love the 6-button Sega Genesis controller. Like I stated before, that is my favorite Sega Genesis controller. That has been and will always be my go-to Sega Genesis controller. So I I can't say a single bad thing about this controller. I just can't. I can't wait to test it out on some games and hook it up to whatever, my PlayStation 3 or my Nintendo Switch. And I know for a fact I am going to love using this controller, whether it's on my PlayStation 3 or on my Nintendo Switch, no matter what game I'm playing. So, to wrap up this unboxing slash first impressions video of this controller, I absolutely love it. I absolutely love this controller. So, my final thought is if you're a Sega fan and you love the 6-button Sega Genesis controller from back in the day, you're going to love this controller. So, I highly recommend you go out and get this controller. If you are a fan of the 6-button Sega Genesis controller, going you're not going to regret it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.